Hi, I'm Amanda Skelton, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how to make this card. So I call it like a square pop-up pillar card. So they're really nice. So they're really nice sort of 3D effect, and you can see these pillars here, but they also fold flat for posting. So they're really, really nice, and they have this little detail in the middle, which is sort of brought onto the front of this section here. The pop-up section. So I did see this actual design for the card, so all the measurements etc are from Iced Images, and I've changed it slightly to use the Lifetime of Love products and colourways, so that's what I've want to show you on this one. So what do we need for this? So let me just first of all show you the products. So this is the Forever in Love products. So we've got all of these papers here and the gems, which I haven't actually used on this project, but they do go very nicely with the papers. On mine, I've used these, what are they called? Gold faceted adhesive backed sequins. And you've got like little moons and circles and these like little teardrops, which could also be a little bit like feathers. I wanted to use those on this project because it picks out the gold foil, so that's what I've done on mine. But these gems look really nice with it as well. And so they all goes together. I've also got so those are the gems, which are Petal Pink and Pretty Peacock foil gems, which have got a lovely little detail, sort of gold on them as well. And then this is the gorgeous ribbon. As you can see, there's a gold fleck in that as well. Again, I haven't used it on this project. Let me show you a couple of other projects I've used the papers on. So this is one that I've used. So the Lifetime of Love stamp set and dies are really, really gorgeous. And again, I'm really not doing it justice in terms of the card I'm doing, because I'm only going to be using this image. But it's got some gorgeous images. Again, I've used the gold foil here. It's got some really nice sayings on it. So forever and always, wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness. Congratulations on your wedding day. So it's a really nice set for wedding or anniversary cards. And then the dies. This is the die that I've used for the gold detail here, which is gorgeous. It's just such a lovely little detail that you can put a sentiment in, and then I die cut it twice, once in gold and once in white, and then I use the insert for the white as my base for my sentiment. And then we've got this other little gorgeous like little wreath. So this is another card that I've done, again with the same papers, again with the detail. Again, I cut this with gold and then cream, and use the cream insert for my sentiment. And on this one I've actually heat embossed the sentiment. And then this, as you can see here, I've used the really nice ribbon here. So those are some of the cards that I've done with those. So yes, I'm only going to be using this stamp and the die that goes with that for this particular one, but it shows you what you can achieve with this, which is lovely. And the papers, these are the papers, again always like double-sided, but these are foiled, which are gorgeous, and these two colours are just beautiful. So those are the papers that we're going to use as well. So this was the Pretty Peacock, and this is the Moody Mauve. So I'm going to do a Moody Mauve one for this presentation. So what do we need? So what you need to remember is that this makes a card that measures 5 by 7 inches. So you're going to need a 5 by 7 inch envelope if you're planning to post it. So let me just put that over there a minute. So what you're going to need is I'm using cream because I want the gold colourway. So I've used a cream piece of card, which is 5 by 7 inches. And then I have got another piece of cream, which is 5 by 5 inches square. And then I've got a gold piece of card, which measures 4 3/4 of an inch by 6 3/4 of an inch. And then I've got a square piece, which measures 4 3/4 of an inch by 4 3/4 of an inch. So these are going to become your layers. So those are your layers here. So they're obviously just slightly smaller. And then we're going to have 2 more pieces of cream cardstock, which measures 5 by 5 inches, and you're going to want to score both of them at 1, 2, 3 and 4 inches. So I don't know if you can just see there the score marks across there, so both of those you want to score. And then you want some patterned paper. So I've used the reverse just to make it coordinate. So the first piece you want is going to measure 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches, and the second piece, which is, so this piece is going to be for this panel here, and then the second piece is going to be this front panel. Now I've used the different patterns because I just think it pops out the middle section a lot better. So the second piece you want is 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and again it makes all your panels and your layers like that. Okay, what you're also going to need is, well, you can either do it by using a craft knife if you like, but I've used square dies. So what you're going to need is some dies to make 2 apertures here. One needs to be bigger than the other. So you want your largest die to measure about 3 1/8. Yeah, 3 1/8 of an inch by 3 1/8, and the inner one needs to measure about 2 6/8. Okay, what you need to remember is this front panel is 5 inches wide and square and top. These are going to be 1 inch wide by the time you've made these pillars, so you need at least 3 inches in the middle here so that you don't see the pillars on the coming out in front of it. So this inner side needs to be less than 3 inches, so that's what you need. And then you just want to make sure that the other ones are big enough to have a border for the gold. Okay, so that's what we need. So I've got my 2 dies here. And what do we need to do next? So we can start by assembling. Oh, you'll also need another piece of cream card to stamp out your image, and a sentiment if you want to. I probably won't add a sentiment onto this one, but you can do if you obviously want to. So the first thing you want to do is start, oh sorry, the other thing I forgot to tell you, you want a piece of clear acetate. So this here is attached, I don't know if the light is just slightly catching it, but there's a piece of acetate here, which is what I've attached the popped up or the raised image to, and that needs to measure 3/4 inch wide and by just under 5 inches. Again, this is 5 inches high, so you just want to make it just a little bit less so that it doesn't come out over the top and bottom. And when we put it together, I'll explain to you how we're going to do that. Okay, and because that is so difficult to see, I've put it on my silicone mat so I can find it later. If you put it on a patterned base, then you're done for. You'll never find it again. So in fact, I'm going to put that over there. Okay, so with your 3 largest pieces of card, you can then just add your layers. As always, I like to use a double-sided permanent tape. It's just quicker and easier to use. If you're not confident with placing things that isn't going to stick and it's not quite straight, then glue, the liquid glue is brilliant, because then you can place it. So I always hold it at about 45 degrees angle, and then it doesn't stick until I'm happy that it's in place. Okay, so that's my first layer, and then I want that to be my background. So even though I'm effectively chucking away the really nice foiled pattern, I want it to complement the front panel. Now again, just make sure if it's directional paper pattern that you place it the right way round. Okay, so that's my base done. Easy, that one's nice. Okay, so Now you've got your, so you can see that this is going to be directional, this piece. So what we're going to do now is put your, so this is, you're going to have 3 pieces of square card that is going to be 5 by 5. You want the piece that is not scored, okay, so the plain piece. But you can put that to the side, and you want your gold square and your patterned square, okay. And what you're going to do is you are going to die cut, sorry, you just need your pattern piece to start with. And what we're going to do is die cut a square out of the middle, okay. If you want to measure it either side, you can do. I'm just going to eyeball it. So let's just get the machine up here. And again, it needs to be the largest of the 2 because we're going to be creating this border here. Sorry about my squeaky voice today. I don't quite know what's going on with it. Okay, so place that one on there. You definitely want to make sure that left and right is equal, because that's going to be your, make sure that your panels are going to be right at the side. Okay. So just put them down for a minute. While we attach those. So that was the large piece, so you can get rid of that one now. So that is now going to create a nice frame. Okay, so we can now adhere that onto the gold. So again, you want to just center that on. Okay. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing this. The way I prefer to do it is I prefer to mount all of my 3 layers together and then cut out the centerpiece that's going to become our aperture here. What you can do if you rather, I mean, I know that it'll go through the cutting machine with basically the card and the foil are the 2 layers it's going to need to cut out in one go. If you put it through the machine once and come back again, it should definitely go through. So I haven't got an issue with that. If you've got an issue where your die cutter won't go through 2 layers, then what you would do is die cut that one first, so they're using the smaller square now. Then you'd place it on here, and then you'd mark where that aperture is, and then you'd line up this one. But you do risk it not quite lining up, so I much prefer to put all my 3 layers together and then cut the middle section out in one go. Then I know it's exactly where it needs to be. Again, I'm trying to make sure it's the right way up, but it's not going to matter at this point because we haven't attached it to the base of the card. Okay, so now I've got my small square die. And again, you can measure if you like to, but I think you're going to be able to see roughly that it's in place. Make sure it's nice and straight and your borders look about right all sides. And I always place the top piece straight above so that it doesn't move the dies. But you can use a little bit of washi tape or something like that, which will help you to keep it in place. Okay, so I actually only put that through once, but I can see here, I can see that it's gone all the way through, she says. No, so what I'm going to, you'll be able to feel that that is in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that just back through again. And then it'll just make sure that it has cut through properly. There you go, you can see that it's cut out nicely. Okay, so then you have 2 bits of cut out as well, so you keep that because you can use that to add as a topper for another card. Alright, we will need that again in a minute to die cut our flower for the middle. In fact, we could do that now, couldn't we? We can. So I'm going to use Moody Mauve, and I'm going to use this lovely flower part of this design, and I've done that because it fits within there, so it looks really like it's floating. If you attach it to the edges, it makes it look like that's how it's attached, so you want to give it the illusion that it's floating. So I'm going to use Moody Mauve. Then I'm going to die cut that, so that has the matching die in the set. So I'm going to die cut that one. Right, and then we will be done with this machine. Right, we are done with that machine now. So there I have my die cut image, which is really nice. So we'll keep that to the side for the moment. Right, so what you're going to need now is your front panel that you've die cut out, and then you want the 2 squares that are scored. So what I did as well, let me just check if yeah. So this was 5 by 5, and then I scored it. So along the long edges, so this is scored here like this. On both of the edges, I took just a slither off of both, and that's just so that when it creates the join along here, none of them are sort of coming out over the edge. So you basically just want to fold them and burnish those, folding them the same way as you go, because that's going to create your square pillar like that. And that's why I've cut these tiny bits off of here, so that then it doesn't sort of go over the edge, say like that. It's nice and well within the section it's going to stick to, and then you don't see it. Excuse me. So again, continue to that on the second one. So we've got both of those like this. So what we're going to do is, on the top edge, we're going to add some tear and tape, and I would add probably 2 probably add 2 strips. And I do find tear and tape is really good for adding the strength, especially for boxes and corners and things like that. So on that piece, so again, you've got all this sort of folded up like this, and then you want it on the top edge. So I haven't taken the protective bits off yet, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to fold it, and then that's going to make sure, so I don't know if you can see there, it's just slightly shy of that fold, which is good because you want it to be just slightly hidden, and then that will become our nice square panels. Okay, so one at a time. Okay, so that's the sticky edge. I'm going to fold it down, so there's 2 panels there, 2 panels there, the extra panels there. Okay, fold it down, so that's sticky, and that's going to go on top. And if you fold it that way, you know it's going to be a nice square box because it folds flat. You don't want this to sort of not be able to be square and flat, otherwise the whole card won't fold flat. Okay, so that's one done. Okay, so again, sticky edge, 2 panels, 2 panels, fold it down, sticky edge here, and then fold this top one over, a little bit like a letter, I suppose, a little bit like an envelope. Okay, so again, so there's nothing protruding here because I've kept it so you can just see there's a tiny little bit edge there, which is nice because that is going to stick either onto the back of there or onto there, so you've hidden your joins, which will be nice. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is using that edge where you've got that join on both of them, which is that one and that one here. So once you've got them, if you want to put a cross on them or something in pencil, then you know exactly what you're doing. So top edges, and again I'm going to put another 2 pieces of tear and tape. Okay, so again that's where I've got my seam. So on both of them. Okay, and then while you're at this stage, before we stick it onto anything, we're going to put some tape on the opposite corner, that's the opposite edge, because that is tape, that's going to go on there, and then, oh, it's getting away from me. So that is going to be stuck on there, and then that is going to be stuck onto the base. So the opposite, so I've got it on there, so I'm going to put it on there. So I'm going to put it on the top edge, okay? If you do accidentally put it on the wrong section, it doesn't matter. Just don't take the protective film off and it won't stick to anything. I'm just checking, yes, I've done it the right way before I say that. And then that's on there, so I want it on this one, which is at the top. Again, if it helps you to sort of put pencil marks or something on it, just so that while you're laying it all down, you don't accidentally get it the wrong way. Easy enough to do, I've done it myself. Okay, so what we're going to do then, so if you have less than 3 inches in the middle, you're going to have a little bit of playroom on the edges. So if you can see, that is to that edge there, you can see I have actually got a bit extra space here. But what I would do is I would always make it go to the outside edge so that this is all nice and clear, because then this is all nice and square here. Okay, so again, it doesn't really matter if your paper's the right way up at this time, but I will do it the right way up. Okay, so doesn't matter which one. So on one of the edges, you can take your protective covering off your tape. Okay, and then so this is on the outside, so that's tape there. That's tape that I've just taken off. And what you want to do is push it to the outside edge of the frame. And you want to make sure that it's even, top and bottom, that it doesn't stick out the top and the bottom. I might just have to get on top of this in a minute just to make sure. And I'm just going to use my hand to guide that I make sure that it stays on that left-hand edge. And I'm just going to make sure that it's all straight with the rest of the card. Okay, so that hopefully if I do like that, you don't know, I can see a tiny bit, but that should be okay. And then that's going to become your pillar like that. Okay, so leave the protective strip on that one for the moment. And we're going to do the same here. We're going to again put this sticky tape to the outside edge on this side now. Okay, so again, sticky tape on the outside edge. And again, I'm going to offer this at about 45 degrees angle so it doesn't stick down until I'm ready for it to. I'm going to make sure it's even around the top and bottom. And then lay it down. And I sort of go into it, that direction. Okay, so that all looks quite good there. Okay. Right, so before we attach it to the base, because we're going to need to, so you should have sticky here still to be unprotected, and then that's going to go onto here. Before we do that, we'll add this layer here. So when I did this one, I added that last, which meant it was quite fiddly to try and get it behind here. So if we do it at this point, it makes it a lot easier. So you want to make sure it's the right way up, and you want to make sure that you've got your piece of acetate, and you're going to have about 1 inch top and bottom. It depends how big your square was in the middle. You can have at least 1 inch top and bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little piece of tape at the top, I'll say less than 1 inch, and a little piece at the bottom here. Okay, so what you can do if you like is if you place it on top of here, you can see that it is within, you want to make sure your tape is within here, you don't want it to be anywhere else so that it might get sticky. Okay, and then what you want to do is take your protective bit off. Apart from I'm taking it all off. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to stick it down so the sticky side is face down. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's roughly in the middle. It's not going to be the end of the world if it isn't, so you can get those out of the way if you like to. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly straight because it's clear, so you won't be able to see it. And I've made this just shy of 5 inches, again, just so that it doesn't stick out the top and the bottom. But what I would do is make sure that it's stuck at the bottom first, and then just push it up to the top. And that's so that you can make sure it's nice and flat. If it isn't flat, then your image is going to sort of look a little bit like it's waving in the wind. So that's why I did it at this point, so that then you can sort of basically go up and make sure that it's all nice and flat. Okay, so what you can do then is add your element to stick on the top. What you can do if you want to, once you think you're happy with where it's going to go, if you want to, you can draw a pencil mark. Let me do it. I'm going to draw a pencil mark. She says, trying to put it down. So I'm going to put a pencil mark there and a pencil mark there. And that's going to tell me where I can put tape roughly. So I'm going to put a piece of tape down here. And I'm making sure that my pattern is the right way up now because I want my flower to go this direction. And I'm just going to add it on so that it is not touching any of the sides, so that it looks like it's truly floating. Okay, and actually I've pretty much put it back in position, which is good. Okay, right, so the next thing to do is to add your front panel to the base. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the protective film off of one of these, and we're going to fold it in so that this is not on the edge, it's going to be here. So what we're going to do is then offer it up to the left edge. This bit hasn't got any tape on, so that's not going to stick at this time. So again, hold it about 45 degrees angle. Use your fingers to sort of guide it to the edge, and then you're going to basically let it fold down from the left to the right, so that then that section will be stuck about here. So you can see here, that isn't stuck. This is where the glue is. We're going to offer up to the edge, which means that that is going to stick down, which means that when it raises up, it's got that little step in from the edge. Okay, so let's do it again. Make sure if you've got directional paper that this is the point. You need to make sure that it's correct way up with your front panel compared to your base panel. Okay, so you're going to do it on one. Work from the left, it's probably a bit easier. You're folding it in. Okay, don't fold it out because that's going to go horribly wrong. Fold it in so you can see it in here. Okay, and then I'm going to offer it to the left hand edge. I'm going to make sure top and bottom it's in line with the base, and then I'm going to fold it in from the left, and then it's stuck there. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And now we're going to do the same from the other one. So you're going to again take protective off. Right, just be careful at this point it doesn't stick down to here. Right, again, how are we doing this one? We are right, so keep this in your hand, okay, so that the sticky is, your fingers are between the stickiness and that. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put it back flat where we put it flat on the left one. Okay, because what we want to do is basically move from the left to the right, and it's going to make it all nice and stay really flat like this. Okay, at the same time you've pressed it down and the glue has stuck here. So now it should go nice and flat. You just got to make sure that it you know, this is how it's going to be posted. You're not going to notice if it's slightly offline like this, but you are going to notice if it doesn't sit flat to go into the envelope. I think the very first one I did didn't quite sit right because I accidentally got it to stick to the base when I wasn't quite ready for it to. Okay, so last thing we're going to do is add some sequins. Now these are already sticky backed, which is perfect. No glue needed. And I used a little one for the two little flowers at the top and the bottom. So you can see how this does have a little bit of movement, which is quite nice. And then I'm going to use one of the bigger ones. And you can just get your fingers underneath it if you want to. Give it a little bit of a press, so you can just press it from underneath and from up top. And there you have it. What I'd call a square pop-up pillar card. So there you can see, folds down nice and flat, but it's also got such lovely detail. As always, you can find my details at Amanda's Crafted Cards. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Pinterest, and you can find all these gorgeous products at Stampin' Up at www.amandascraftedcards.stampinup.net. It is just such a gorgeous paper and the colours are just lovely. I hope you like them as much as I do. And then, like I said, these are some of the other projects that you can make with these gorgeous products. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'd love to see what you make with it, so please do post comments, or if you can post a picture of what you've made, that would be lovely. And I hope to see you next time soon. Take care. Bye-bye.